We are live.
Hi, live.
Nobody's on there yet. We shall wait. Oh,
What?
I'm gonna have to come back to the live.
Why? What happened? What? You should go fix that.
Just a second, everyone.
Bring them out, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out.
They can hear you.
Oh, hi. I was about to give the people a song, but I don't know if they want to hear from me.
Well, we don't have anyone on yet, so we'll wait until a few people get on.
If it had not been for the Lord on my side,
Get it together, girl.
tell me where.
We're just awaiting for a few folks to jump on. If we get about 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6 people, we'll be ready to roll.
Hi, sis. My sister Jillian is on. My impact sister. She just texted me.
Hey, Jill girl. We will get started as soon as folks bow.
Yes.
We're live.
Oh, right.
So, honey, please turn your ringer off.
Oh, sorry.
Y'all getting raw, authentic, okay?
Yep.
That's what y'all getting for those who are already on. We're going to give people a few more minutes to jump on, and then we're going to get started.
Do you all want to hear a song from me? Babe, this is raw footage. You don't want the people to know that I can sing?
Go ahead. Give them a song.
Okay. Which one?
Whatever you want to sing. What's on your heart? This devotion?
Yeah. Give me a song, babe.
I sing hymns.
To trust in Jesus. Every song I sing pretty much is a church song. I love the Lord.
He heard her cry.
Hallelujah.
All right. We got, I think it's like 2 people on here. We'll give me to at least 4. Y'all share it. Send it out to the people.
My contact is like so dry.
The people they y'all asked for it. Now we're giving it to y'all. Y'all ain't getting on.
Babe, it's only Black people are never on time.
That's not nice to say. We have our own time frame.
Right.
So we
CP.
always on time. Colored people time.
Correct.
Share. Let's get a few more folks on before we start talking.
Oh, my contact is so dry. I hope I don't cry.
Give me one more person. Just one more. One more.
I know all of y'all are not on spring break right now with your children.
All right, let's get rolling. We got 4 people. That's enough for me. That's enough for you.
Where 2 or 3 are gathered.
He is in the midst.
Amen.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. Of course, to the Grit Zone podcast with your very own Dr. P. And once again, you all have requested a part two uh, to me and Val having a conversation. We talked about how, we love the sinner, we just don't like the sin. And that was part one. And we kind of opened up a little bit about us and discussed a little bit of our journey, uh, going through different parts of our lives around church. Um, and let me see, somebody said something on there, and I want to make sure the people can hear us clearly. 1 second. I'm not sure why we can't share on there. Maybe if you go to the actual page, you should be able to share it from YouTube, or maybe from Facebook. You should be able to share the link from there. Because I don't want to take too much time trying to figure it out on here while we're live. But thanks, Jill. From our first episode, we kind of talked a little bit about our story, a little bit about our journey, and there was a request from people to share a little bit about us, and our own story, how Val and I became one, and how we got together. But as we continue to kind of really talk about really what it meant to love each other, show up for each other, be present with each other, we have allowed, no, sorry, scratch that. So many people have told our story for us for whatever reason, and not truly understanding our journey. And so before anybody can tell our story or talk about our story or talk about us in general, we wanted to be able to take the space and time to share that. We don't know who it will help, who it will support, but I know that this is a part of our own healing journey, and this is different and new for us to do. But we are excited to be able to share. So yeah, we're gonna jump into some questions. I'm gonna ask some questions to Val. She'll probably throw those questions right back at me.
Absolutely.
And so we will go from there. So of course, I like to write all my questions down. But we're gonna start off with, why did you feel, and I guess we'll both talk about this, like it was important to talk about this now?
I think for me, our relationship was like such a shock, right? For so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I know you like to say that a lot of people know me, but a lot of people know you as well.
They do?
Absolutely, Dr. P. And so people, when our relationship, became a thing to others, people started to create a narrative that we knew nothing about. The stories that we heard, we were like, what? Where did that come from? And I think if we told the story any sooner, for me personally, it would have come from a place of hurt, a place of pain, just from a place I wasn't ready to tell, our story. I wanted to protect our relationship, protect our love, because not everyone is happy for us. But today, I think that we can tell our story from a place of peace and joy and happiness.
Yeah, I think I would agree that there were a lot of different versions of our story.
Absolutely.
A lot of different perceptions, and a lot of things that people just came up with on their own about how Val and I got together, how we started dating, how did we meet, like all of these different versions of us kept like or not versions of us, but like these versions of these stories just kept just like coming out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And I think that you're right. If we would have told our story a year ago, or a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
it would have been from a place of, oh, okay, cool,
Right.
I got you. Let me tell the truth type of business.
Right.
And it wouldn't have protected who and what we were building, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that was like the biggest piece is like everybody don't deserve our story. That's number one. And protecting the sanctity of what we were building, I think was also important.
I think so. I think also this journey has taught me that you don't have to speak when people are asking to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to give a response. You don't have to rush to give people answers when they are asking for one.
Mm-hmm.
You get to speak when you desire to speak.
Yeah.
I have my previous life. I always had to be on demand. I had to respond when people wanted me to respond. I had to respond the way people wanted me to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And um, on this journey that I am currently on and doing life with you, I desire to speak when I want to speak.
Mm-hmm. And it's like there's power in silence too, though.
There is
Like
absolutely power in silence.
one of the biggest things that I had to learn early on was the difference between a secret and privacy.
Mhm.
And Val and I's relationship really taught me that, because I had fought for so long for people to just see me and see beyond my sexuality and who I choose to date. And I was like screaming for people to see me. So if that meant me posting, if that meant me on social media posting all day, posting pictures of me or whatever the case may be, I wanted the world to know like all of these different things. And the biggest piece about all of it was, what's the difference between having a secret and protecting and being private? Like, so in the beginning, so many people was like coming up with all of these versions of how,
Oh my God.
we was this and we was that, and how did we like, and as many times as I think we wanted to clap back and we wanted to respond by the grace of God, okay,
Yeah.
there were versions of us that had to die in order for us to sit in the space in the presence of being able to say, let's be silent in this moment, because there was so much power in those spaces and we grew. But the privacy and the private moments that we had, I think, were important. And a lot of people won't be privy to those moments.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, so our journey, even though we are together, this journey is different for the both of us,
Mhm.
right? And I think for me, because I have lived in the public eye for some time, I felt like I was on a treadmill and I couldn't get off. And I wasn't the person controlling the speed of the treadmill.
Mhm.
The world was controlling the speed of the treadmill for me. And in the beginning, I felt like I did have to answer questions, Um, and so it just helped to slow me down and for me
Mhm.
to come off of that treadmill and say, wait, you really don't have to answer any questions. And
Mhm.
that's okay.
And I don't owe you that.
And I don't owe you that.
I
I
think
don't owe you that.
I think a lot of people thought they were owed
Yeah.
a conversation. They were owed the reason why. They were owed like the story behind Val and I, and you weren't owed nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that part, it took us some time to get there.
It took us some time to get there. It took some tears. It took some dying of within ourselves, old habits, old ways. I could go on and on.
Yeah. Let's get into another question.
All right.
What did people get wrong about us?
Yeah.
Much.
They got much wrong. They got much wrong. I don't How deep should we go?
Listen, the
You know
people-
what?
the
I want
people
you to
are
start
here.
this one off. Go ahead, babe. Start this one off.
So I think that, and I'll be very transparent, right? I have identified as a queer for quite some time now. So I think automatically people were like, Pavi came after her and she sought after her and she done stole this woman and she done turned out. And I was like, man, that's such a stretch.
It was such a stretch,
But also such a lie.
such a lie.
So that piece out now in the beginning it was a little frustrating. But I think it's laughable now because we'd be like, if we really told y'all the story, you would be confused and lost and probably looking at the both of us like,
Yeah, let's go ahead and set the record straight. Pavi did not come after
I
me.
did not.
She did not come after me. It's so funny. We were on a flight. We were not on the flight together at all. I didn't know where she was going. She paid me absolutely. She didn't even know I was on the flight with her.
Didn't even know. I knew she was present. Didn't know she existed.
Oh my goodness, Pavi. And so I saw her on this flight, and I'm like, the craziest thing happened. I was just so drawn to her, not in necessarily a physical way, but just in general. Like for the entire flight, I stared at you. And I was like, oh my God. I got off the plane and I called my friend Melissa. And I was just like, Mel, do you think that I'm like going through a midlife crisis? Like, why was I staring at this woman? She was like, friend, I don't know. I was like, I don't know either. And I legit thought about her that entire night. Like I created this whole narrative. Pavi was a professor at the University of Chicago. Like I thought she was a professor. What's the song? Gucci Mane. Professor. But anyway, so I don't know. I was just super drawn to her. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a physical thing. It was more so like,
there was a synergy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but this idea of it, the easiest story to tell was that I sought after Val and I came after Val because that's just what society has taught us, like, especially about women who identify as straight and those who and end up being with the queer identified like woman. Like, so that was the easiest story to tell and the easiest story that made sense, right? It was airtight. Nobody could maneuver away from that. So I think people just kind of stuck with that, but that was not our reality.
That
right?
was not.
But even after that time, Val and I did not talk. Let me say this.
Yeah.
Because my version of this was like, I did not know that she existed, right? Like, so in
that sounds
mo-
horrible.
But I didn't know, like, I didn't even, first of all, when it was brought to my attention, I was like, who? I was like, he ain't got no daughter. I don't know about no, so I was like,
Yeah.
I never knew. I've only known your dad to like bring his son around. So I never knew that you existed.
They didn't want the people to know about me.
So when it was brought to my attention, I was just like, I don't know who she is. I don't. And so I went on search and I was like, I've never seen her before. I've never seen her. But there was this concept that I think later on we had to process this in therapy that came up for us, right? Like, what type of story did people try to tell about us, and what versions of the story did we start to believe?
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, it started to hurt us in some ways because we were like, wait, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this true? Our past started showing up. Things started showing up in these conversations. Trauma started showing up. And that was tough because we knew that there was a different story. But when you have so much, like, I guess, like clouding you and in your ear, it's kind of hard to be like, I know the truth. That ain't it. But so many people, I think, try to They sent us to hell several times.
We definitely went to hell.
But tried to tell us how and why we were together. And that was hard. We met through a common friend at the time. And it, meeting with that common friend, we just honestly became really good
Right.
friends.
I was about to say we were friends. All of us were friends.
But you and I became.
I was still trying to figure out,
And Val's brain was trying to figure out how and why was she attracted to a woman? Fair, right? But I think in that space, we also, one of the biggest things for me is like, I had a very unhealthy love language at the time, and I won't go into that detail. But that unhealthy love language, it spoke louder than me, but it took so much away from who I truly was. And when Val came into my life, she was like, "That's not gonna happen. Like you get to be a version of Pavi that." That shows up for younger Pavi, that shows up for other people without them defining you and putting you in this one box. And when she told me, she was like, we are going to be really good friends. And really what she did tell me, she said, you don't know this because Val is a prophet, y'all. Just she said, you don't know this. She said, but we're going to do ministry together. And I looked at her and said, okay.
And I told her that several times, and Pavi ignored me.
I did.
And I really didn't even know what I meant by that because I didn't know where God was really going to take us. And I was just like, I'm just telling you what I know, or what has been revealed to me. And man.
Yeah, it was, but that was a big piece of it. One of the biggest things too, that oftentimes I think that kept showing up for us when people, we lost a lot in this journey of love. We lost a lot of people. We lost a lot of friends. And in that losing, we gained so much too.
Yeah.
And I think it was in those moments, like probably 6 months into our relationship, we like, okay, we know we like each other. I like you. You like me. What most people don't know is that Val came to me and was like, which I am probably the most grateful for. One, I have a clinical background, so I'm all down for therapy, right? I have my own therapist. She had her own therapist.
Mhm.
But, it was very different for someone to come to me and say, if this is going to work, we need to understand each other's triggers. We need to understand each other's traumas.
Understand each other's childhood, like all type of things. I think a lot of people get in relationships and they're like, oh, I like you. You like me. Or, I love you. You love me. Yeah. But when you start to really get down
surface.
to, what bothers you, what's your love language, what triggers you when you're stressed,
what's your attachment,
what is your
right?
Yes,
so like
that's a good one.
All of those things, I think initially, yes, she was drawn to me, I was drawn to her, we were drawn to each other, and we developed this friendship where we used to talk about literally everything.
Yeah.
And we started talking about so much that it started exposing these these younger versions of us. Like, so little Pavi and little Val would show up and be in like, hey, listen to me, and that was hard in those spaces. But when you came to me and was like, no, we're gonna find us a therapist.
We're gonna find us a therapist. And I think when you know that you're in a serious relationship, it's important to do therapy. I think a lot of people, they get engaged and then they do
premarital counseling.
Yeah. And by that time you're already engaged and you like, whoa,
I learned
that part of your childhood. Because my therapist said something so important. She said, you date the little version of that person. Mm-hmm. So I'm dating little Pavi and she's dating little Val, and whatever shows up for us, is going to show up in a relationship. And it's important that you know those things before, so you know how to better handle them.
Yes. So therapy was really important, but started very early. A lot of people don't know that. This is why I said, let us tell our side of the story. And we are still in therapy.
We are
today. We got the same
And our
thing.
therapist wants to get rid of us. She's like, why are y'all still here?
We won't let her go.
We won't let her go.
But it was important for us to talk through those moments in those spaces, like in that space. Wasn't always the best sessions. It wasn't always the
It was
easiest.
some hard sessions.
It was some tough sessions, right? But it was important. One, we both have kids that we're bringing into our relationship, and so it was important for us to really understand, how does Pavi react when she's frustrated, or what don't she like? And it's still to this day that we learn stuff about each other, and we be like, you know. But it's easier because
We've done some work.
Yeah, we took the time to do the work. So, all right, let me get into another question. Let's see. How did the church or people in the church? My mama told me, she said, no. It's one thing I want to correct here. I said, go ahead, girl. I said, go ahead, Reverend. And she said, it wasn't the church. The church is just the building. The church is in our hearts. I said, you're right.
But the people make up the church.
People inside of there that hurt. I said, you're right, girl. So I'm going to reframe my question. How did the people in the church or people in community shape how people saw us? It's a strong pause.
That's such a, because of my previous relationship, I had a lot of healing to do, and I'm still healing from the church. There was just so much judgment. I think I would start there. There was just so much judgment from the church, in the very place that people, and it wasn't necessarily judgment about me being in a relationship with you. The judgment started from, oh, you got a divorce, to this and that, and then it's you're in a relationship, a same gender loving relationship, and no one from the church thought to ask me how about, they didn't ask me about my hurt. They didn't ask me how I felt. They didn't ask me if I needed a hug. They didn't ask me if I needed prayer. They didn't ask me any of that. Some people just stopped talking to me. Really out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. It's hard for me to even find the words, because the amount of hurt that I had I've had behind the church, and just what I thought that we as a Christian community represented is not what I got. And I've been in church all my life. And I think that a lot of times we perform church, but when we actually need the church to show up for us, they don't show up for us.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, I think that, there's a sense of community that you get when you go to church, right? Like, and you show up as people try to, I think some people knowingly, and then there's some people unknowingly show up to church, their authentic selves. And immediately they are pulled from whatever they may show up as to be something different.
Yeah.
And so if I come in one way because I'm in search of this community, I'm in search of God, I'm in search of, needing to fill a void, oftentimes we get stuck in this one version of how church is supposed to be, right? And I think what hurt me the most in how the church community really responded was not so much as I have gotten past because I've had to experience it for so long. I've gotten past this version of people accepting me,
Mm-hmm.
but the lack of respect that came,
Mm-hmm.
I think caught me a little off guard because at this grown age and all the degrees and all the stuff that I've earned that much is
Mm-hmm.
the respect,
respect.
you know. And so I think
Just
that
as a human.
take everything off the table. I think some people saw love first, and then there were some people who saw the act, which is what I'll say is extremely important for me. Is that oftentimes when you look at a heterosexual relationship with a man and a woman, if you see them, it's like, oh, they're a beautiful couple. If you see two women, two men, right, or to queer people, to trans identified people, how the first thing that people think is sex.
Mm.
They have literally just pinpointed you to the bed. You ain't thinking about the bedroom when you look at a man and a woman.
Right.
So why do you immediately over sexualize my love or over sexualize my relationship? Why have you dimmed it, like, and put it? I think that's probably the biggest thing. Was like, oh, y'all ain't healed. Who are you to control my healing process? Who are you to tell me that I have not healed?
I just have so much to say. We need more time, guys. I think my therapist said something to me, and because I was listening in the beginning, you know, to the outsiders, right? The noise. I had to silence the noise because it drove me crazy at first, right? But, you know, we had some people who are no longer in our lives anymore say to us, you know, you all should heal before, you know, you move into this relationship together. And my therapist said something. She was like, sometimes you heal within a relationship. That very relationship is what heals you. And I can honestly say that is what happened between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of days that Pavi sat with me. She prayed with me. She gave me space to heal. She gave me, you know, space to cry and to be. But she also sat with me on some really, 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 really dark days and dark moments where I did not want to go on. And you carried me, and I healed in those moments.
Mhm.
And so for people to say that you can't heal within a relationship, I think that it takes the right relationship, not just getting in any relationship, but making sure that it is the right relationship. You all can heal individually as well as together. And I think we've helped each other heal in some areas together.
Yeah, you know, the best thing about when I heard that statement, it was like, good thing you don't get to control somebody's healing process, right?
Right.
Um, because the same way hurt people, heal people, and it is not the easiest thing to hear people say, "Well, y'all didn't heal, or y'all had a past. We all have a past. We've all had a journey." Um, and I think the other part about it is we found each other in this very unexpected place. For whatever reason, people have created this story that we did all of this for show, and this was like planned out. It was extremely. We just say like, I didn't even know Dick Callahan had a daughter. You know, so
Oh my goodness.
but it was very, very unexpected. And I think in that unexpected space, the healing part did come in those spaces. There's a lot of versions of me that I was too afraid to talk about with people. There's a lot of stuff that I was afraid to discuss. It was a lot of, like, prime example. I give you a real live example. Val and I were like maybe 5 or 6 months in, probably a little bit more than that. And she's like, what's one thing that you want to end this year doing? And I said, oh, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. And she was like, well, think about it. Like, what's one thing you got, like, you really would like to end this year doing or taking care of, like all this stuff. And after I thought about it, I said, I need to take a trip to forgive my dad. It had been something that had been sitting on my heart. It had been something that I've been struggling with. My father's incarcerated and has been for quite some time now. But the things that he was incarcerated for, it confused me. The stuff that and how things kind of showed up for me and for him, we always had this very strained relationship, and it was tough. But I knew that there was healing in my forgiveness towards him, that I would open up more for myself when I just finally forgave him. And I sat with him and I heard his story, and Val said, well, let's do it. And I was like, what? And so she was like, if that's what you want to do, let's do it. She literally says, we are going to book the trip and we're going to go and you're going to sit with your dad. And she traveled with me to Arizona, sat in the house and waited for me. And I sat
She was only supposed to be there for 2 hours.
No, it was a 4-hour visit.
Well, something happened because
she's scared.
I was so scared. You can't take a phone in there.
You can't, you're going into
and I didn't know that. I don't know why I thought that you could take I'm like, she can at least have her phone. I don't know why I thought that.
But the biggest thing for me is I got the space to be able to go down there, sit with him. And it's a relationship that still needs a lot of work. But she was the one who encouraged me and said, then do it. Right. Mm-hmm. And hearing him, listening to him, I prayed with him. I covered him. He covered me. And while, yes, we still have our struggles, I needed that. Mm-hmm. And that is what, I'm talking about, like when you get into a relationship where somebody actually sees you, and they can understand you. It's not going to always be peachy keen. I think we understand that any real relationship is going to come with some trials, some tribulations. But there was, when people was telling us you needed to heal, we were finding healing, like in each other. And a lot of people may not get that. A lot of people may not experience that, but it is the most beautiful feeling for somebody to create space for you. And that's what you do. You created a space for me to be able to say, you want to start a business? Cool. Stop talking about it. Do it. I'm like,
she did start a business.
So those are things that I think have been extremely important. But a lot of the people from the opposite side of that, of like, how did it impact us? A lot of people who are on this live, a lot of people who love us, go to church and have a relationship with Christ. Mm-hmm. And so we found a balance in those who, while yes, we lost friends and we lost loved ones and people didn't necessarily agree with us or like, us dating or being with each other, we had a small group of people who prayed with us, challenged us. Mm-hmm. One of her friends was like, and I promise, I thank God every day for her. And I tell her all the time I get a chance to talk to her. She told us, and I was angry. She said, you all need to fast. Oh, you fast and you do not talk to each other. I said, who? I was angry.
She was so angry.
And I said, well, why wouldn't we talk to each other? That doesn't make sense. And so I ended up having a conversation with her. She said, because if it is truly God, mm-hmm. He will speak to the both of you in the period of fasting. And she said, and when He speaks to the both of you and you come out of that fast, nobody could ever tell you wasn't supposed to be with each other. Yeah. And we did it.
Shout out to Mel.
We did it. I was angry.
She was so mad.
But we did it. And when I tell you, it was like sign after sign after sign.
That's what I was going to say. I was just it was so much going on at that time. And I just remember talking to God and I was like, God, I need you to show up in my dreams. Mm-hmm. I was like, I really, really need you to show up in my dreams. And I need you to reveal to me just so many different things. Yeah. And God did just that. And when we were just talking about, people walking away from us, I thought about my first dream that I had. In
the garage.
I had a dream that, and I'm going to say it quickly because I know, we don't have a lot of time. I went to the garage with a friend, a familiar friend that I knew. And it was a garage attached to a mall. And I said, I'm going to run in here and I'll be right back out. So just wait for me. I went in the mall, and when I came back out, I did not see my friend. It was dark in the garage. I was just like, where did she go? Like, I told her to wait. So I started walking through the garage to find her. And every level that I went to in the garage in my dream looked different. Some levels were pitch black. Some levels were closed in. Some levels just seemed like completely distorted, like all type of things on each level that I went to. And as I started to walk up these different levels in the garage to look for my friend, let's say I was on level 1, didn't find her. Went to level 2, it was dark, didn't find her. Went to level 3, and I saw a person that I didn't know. And they were like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm trying to find my friend. I can't find my friend. And they were like, okay, well, I'll help you find your friend. And I said, okay. So then we went to the next level. And then we found another person. And they were like, what are you all doing? And the person that I found said, I'm trying to help her find her friend. They said, okay, I'll help her. I'll go with you all to help her find her friend. So we kept going. And every level that we went to, there was a new person that joined me trying to find my friend. And I remember one level, it was like a climb. And I could not climb it by myself. Like, I was sweating. I was like, y'all, I'm so tired. We have gone to almost every level and I still cannot find my friend. I don't know you all, but y'all are helping me right now try to find her. And a lot of them were able to climb up, but I wasn't. And they helped pull me up. Never found my friend, but we did get to the top of that garage and we saw some light. And I think about that dream all the time because on this journey that I've been on, that we've been on, I've lost a lot of friends. Not a lot, but my fair share of people who were still expecting the old version of me to show up. And so they weren't familiar with this new version of me. And so because they weren't familiar with this new version of me, it was hard for them to identify with this Val that found her voice.
Watch your tone, Doc.
Oh my!
Watch your tone.
I'm just telling my story. This version of Val who found her voice, this version of Val who took the mask off, this version of Val who said, this doesn't work for me. And because it does not work for me, I'm going to choose me. This version of Val who chose to identify what love really looked like for me, right? And so while so many people have left me on this journey, I found new people. And these people I didn't know, but they have become like family. These are not the people that are sitting on the first or the second row of the church. They love God, but they don't identify with what the church says that you should look like. But they have loved me unconditionally. And so I'm so grateful for God revealing to me in my dream that those who you've been on the journey with, or those that you showed up to the mall with, may not be the people that you leave the mall with. So
there's a preacher in her tone. Amen.
No, just telling my story.
But that was one of the questions, right? Like, did you feel like people projected old versions of you onto like yourself or even just our relationship? But let me tell y'all, Val had many of dreams. Okay. That was just
so many dreams.
One. But even in that, right? I think the biggest piece about that is, yes, people did project these old people who have known us for years, people who we consider to be best friends and close friends, saw us one way. And this love taught us to take off a lot of different masks, right? It taught us to be more open, and to be more honest, not just with other people, but with ourselves. It created an opportunity to do some inner like work Because we were fighting things that sometimes we didn't even talk about.
Right.
And I think the more that the layers got pulled off, whether that was in therapy, whether that was through tough conversations or hard moments, every round, right? Sometimes it felt like it got harder, but every round we got closer to the light,
Yeah.
right? And so, like in that moment, it may have felt really dark, right? And it may have been really hard. And trust and believe, we have both sat with each other in some very dark and hard moments.
Yeah.
And some stuff we didn't share with some of the closest people to us. But we found safety in each other to share those moments. And listen, we would pray through it, we would fight through it. And that, I think, has meant the most beyond what people would have projected onto our relationship. People have told us we've crossed boundaries. People have told us that we have not healed. People have told us that, oh, this is just for play. People have told us that this is just a phase. This is, all of these different versions, right? Or you're impulsive, or you this, or you ain't think about this, or how this person, all of these different things that have showed up in everybody else's story. I don't think people really truly knew what it meant on nights when we would cry ourselves to sleep, on nights when we would pray ourselves to sleep, mornings when we would wake up crying, going to sleep, because there was so many narratives that was put out there about us, and we had to keep quiet. We
couldn't tell our side of the story.
We had no other choice but to be silent. And I remember listening to this preacher one time, and he said, most people walk around and they think favor is getting a new car, and favor is getting a new house and a new job. And you say, oh, I got favor on my life. But he said, favor is when you know something, and you know that even in your knowing, even in all that you know about the situation or whatever the case may be, that God has kept you quiet and you ain't missed a beat.
That's good.
That's favor, right? And so I think the closer that we've gotten, honestly, to each other, the closer we did get to God, and removing the church, removing the building, removing religion, removing the tradition, removing all of these things that have had us,
the politics,
right,
the church,
bound. It was this sense of freedom. Many people, they gonna keep you at Genesis. I got to move through this book now, but they're because that's what makes sense, and it's an easy argument, right? To say one thing.
Yeah.
But I think so much was projected that some of it we started to carry.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of stuff I carried because I'm like, maybe they're right. So many people, maybe they, and it was very, very hard. I'm watching people who have been in my life for 20 plus years up and leave. And then there was versions of me that
but some people left. Let's be clear. And it has been said to us, some people left because we disrupted something in them.
Fair. Fair. Yes.
Like, let's just, it wasn't just, it's so funny because we've had people tell us, like, your love is so loud. You all's love is so loud. It's hard to even ignore the love that we share. That we disrupted some things in some people, some unhappiness, some identity crisis, people figuring themselves out. And while it has been a struggle for some people to support us, it has also been some people who have just met us and they're like, listen, I've struggled with same gender relationships, but the love that you all share makes me believe that God really is love.
Yeah. I think,
and it's not attached to a sexuality or an identity, because people have asked me, like, so are you gay now? Please, guys, let's broaden our thinking. I identify with love, and that I love this woman right here. Let's stretch those brains. Sorry.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I think not just changing or helping people see God beyond the book of Genesis, the book of Leviticus. I can go through all the books now.
No.
I think also what he has given us is, I like to say that some people had to go so that other doors could open.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Other people, right? And
Absolutely.
so sometimes we were holding on to friendships, holding on to relationships because of time, because of titles. And we were holding on. And God was like, the moment that you let that go, I can legit give you new people who's gonna pour into you, who gonna sit with you, who gonna pray with you, and I think that was so important because unexpected friendships started developing, right? Like unexpected people started coming in our lives, and either our stories were similar, or we had something that they needed, and they had something that, vice versa, right?
We lacked nothing. And just like God said, he would be with us always in the valley, in the dark moments, on the mountaintop. He's been with us through it all.
And that is important because here's where some of the emotional stuff comes in. I knew that this love was real because it was the first time that I felt confident and comfortable to sit down with my mom and say, hey, guess what? I'm dating somebody. And I did not do that. That was not something that I did. I would just bring somebody around and be like, girl, you'll figure it out. But I wanted to be intentional.
Praise God, because
Amen.
God.
Very intentional about what this love meant for me and to me. And so that meant that I had to change how I did things. I didn't want to hide. I didn't want to do none of that. I just wanted to be free and just, do it the right way. And my mom has embraced.
Hey, Reverend Monica. She gonna talk about me after this.
She just embraced us with open arms. And she said in a class probably some months back, it was the first time I'd heard her say it, and she said, God treated me like I was simple, Patty. And I was like, what? And she was like, because I was praying for this one version of you while God was showing me a whole nother version of who I needed to be looking at. And that piece was so important to me because I'm like, it's not that she doesn't just see it. And there were moments they probably talk on the phone. I don't even know half the times y'all talk on the phone.
She just likes to call me and talk smack.
But that felt good to be open and honest and real about my truth and who I'm liking and loving. And I used to be like, every call and every conversation I remember, because when we was getting ready to move in, I said, hey girl, gotta tell you something. Tell you what? And anybody that knows my mom, she can't wait. You can't be like, girl, I'll tell you when I see you. She'll be like, no, tell me now. That is who my mother is. And I know she on here watching, but that's who she is. And she was like, okay. And came, blessed our home. Those things meant more than anything to me. Scared out of my mind to tell her, I was like, all right, because I did it before, like, and I did it the wrong way. When I came to my mother and told her, like, yeah, girl, I'm getting married. I was 23 years old telling her I'm getting married. And she's looked like me like, and to who and for what? And no, you're not, you know. And my mother and I tell our story all the time. She did not come, right? And she told me, she was like, in that moment in time, I was still caught up in a whole lot of other stuff and what church thought and what other people thought and all these different feelings and emotions. She said, I also knew you wasn't ready. And this go round, still scared, but picked up the phone and we had the most beautiful conversation. And I knew that after having that conversation, before I proposed to you, I said that if God can come in between a relationship that struggled at one point and shift, this is who I'm supposed to be with. There was literally people who in my life, women who I've grown up with that helped raise me, was just like, oh my God, I'm so happy hosting it. That there was so much confirmation in that. And while, yes, so many people threw salt on us, so many people made us out to be all of these different versions of what they wanted us to be. There was some really deep healing taking place in our personal lives with your family, with my family. And that felt good.
Yeah.
Like that felt really, really good. And so it's a journey that I think the both of us, we took our time with. While, yes, so many people projected their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts, their views, what they wanted, how they wanted it to go. We took our time with telling our story.
We did.
We have 2 young boys. We protected them first too. It was important for us to help them understand what it looked like and what love looked like between the 2 of us. And our relationships and blending families, it was tough in the beginning, right? It was really hard, but we tackled that thing.
We did.
It's like, and while it was hard, I think both of our children,
and we even put them in therapy individually.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, my watch is like, it's 8:27 p.m. But no, we put them in therapy individually, just so they would have a space to, you know, vent, get things out, but just, you know, a safe space outside of us, even though they're gonna tell us everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're like, wait, what?
Hold on, you're going too far, buddy.
But no, I think that our relationship has just taught me how to love unconditionally, not just with you, in general, in friendships, in just people that I am coming in contact with. Because for so long, the church taught me to love in a very conditional way.
It boxed love in.
Absolutely.
It kept it at Genesis. I'm just saying.
Is that a part 3? But anyway, yeah, you know, it wasn't until I disrupted my norm, you know, that I truly learned how to love in a very unconditional way.
Some things have to be disrupted for them to get to where they need to be.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I think that if people continue to color within the lines and stay in those boxes, it makes it hard for people to be free. I'll say this until
I
blue
will
in the face.
Forever want to be free. Okay.
People are bound because, listen. So many people are bound, and now we can really like navigate out of this conversation. Is because we have been taught for years and years and years that freedom is not safe for us. Freedom is will cost you your life. Now it will cost
It will
you.
cost you something.
But people have kept themselves bound
Mm-hmm.
because they're too afraid of what freedom will bring. They're too afraid that freedom may feel too good. Right.
But not even to get to freedom. The crosses that you have to bear just to get to that
they
freedom.
are hard.
They are very hard.
The crosses are heavy.
They're very heavy. I think about my journey all the time, and I'm like, I don't know many that
could carry those crosses.
That could carry the crosses that I've had to carry in order to get to my freedom.
Val had this dream one night. She's a dreamer. She's a prophet, and she's a dreamer. And we'll end here and probably take some questions. But the dream was that, I don't know if this because this is where she go every day, but we were in a casket.
Oh, that dream. Yeah.
And in the casket, we were awake. We were not dead. We were yet alive.
Yeah. You were.
Oh. Go ahead.
We were in a casket, and we were laying in the casket together, and our funeral was packed. It was packed, and
wall to
wall, and everybody that was attending our funeral thought that we were dead, but we weren't dead. The casket wasn't even closed, but to them it was closed. But we were in that casket cracking up laughing, and we were asking each other, like, why are these people crying? We're not dead. It was a pastor eulogizing us and everything, and we were not dead, and we were cracking up.
Why
laughing.
are you looking for the living amongst the dead? He is not. Sorry, my church is sad came.
But when everybody left out of the funeral, they were still mourning, and we got out of that casket
and was
cracking up, and we were like, we're still living. Why do these people think that we died? We never died. And we went on about our day, happy. And our funeral was packed because they thought that we had died.
I think a lot of people were hoping for that. A lot of people were expecting for our love to die. I think a lot of people questioned why it had not died.
Yeah.
And I think that we kept shocking some folks for whatever reason. But there has been so much life.
Yeah.
Between us, with our families, with our friends. And I think the laughable moment is those buried moments were moments of growth. Those were the moments where...
Or the version of us that they knew us as had died in the casket.
And so what they thought had died, or what they were, the surface level of death, with what was dying was who they knew us to be.
Who they knew us to be.
Who they thought who we were prior to, and what they knew us in our previous lives. And I think that was a version that had to die for us to love the way that we love, and for people to be able to truly see us authentically in that. Because one thing that your dad said to me that stuck out the most, he said, sometimes I'll be like, man, all these people love y'all like
they
this.
Just so supportive. I wasn't expecting y'all to have all of this type of support.
And I think that moment, it's like little moments like that.
Yeah.
But so many people have tried to kill our love, have tried to kill our spirit, have tried to drain us, have tried to leech off of us, have tried to do all of these different things to pull us apart. And I won't go into the other dream, but we have flown above all of those things, right?
Yeah.
And that's the version that we wanted to share with people. The other version that you all have heard that may have come up, even the version that people have created to the version that people have created to make themselves look good. We wanted to be able to not necessarily erase, because you think whatever you want to think, but it was time for us to put voice to our own story. We done went viral on TikTok. Everybody's paying attention to you and I. But I think the biggest piece is that we're using this platform, and we are now using a platform to share with people that it is quite all right to love, even if it's in a space where you feel like you are broken, even if it's in a space.
But love with the right person.
Please.
Because to heal in the wrong space,
it's detrimental.
It is detrimental. We should probably answer some questions.
But yes, we wanted to be able to share our story from our perspective. Yes. We're on take, some questions. I know people may have some, so I'm going to scoop back up so we can see if people have questions. We want to be able to answer them. And if y'all don't, y'all know how I end all my
with prayer.
So let's see. All right, let's move some of these folk out the way. Any questions? Don't miss your shout.
Daddy for the win.
That's right, Reverend Monica. In the wrong space, you will not heal. That's it. That's the word. Any questions? Yeah, I've been talking on here, and we just been talking away. Anything y'all want to know? Anything else we have not shared?
All right. You think we should go ahead and end in prayer?
Well, I know sometimes some people be trying to get their thoughts together.
Oh, yeah.
And they thumbs on the right words.
Sorry.
And if we don't have any questions, listen, that's quite all right too. Shout out to everybody who is on, though. I see a whole lot of folks who are on here. Shout out to my mama. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Dex. Who else? Shout out to Moni.
Jillian.
Jill. We see the people out on here. See, the folks say I'm thinking.
Okay. I'm thinking. Thank you.
The freedom will cost you, but it feels so good. Love you too, Ma.
Love you.
Listen, it's quite all right if we don't have any questions. We wanted to be able to give people the part 2 that y'all asked for. A lot of people wanted to hear. Why now? And also just protecting the sanctity of our relationship was important to us. So we hope that we helped. All right.
I have a question.
Sharia got a question. What's your question? Put it in the chat.
Do y'all want to hear me sing?
Val.
Okay.
She stays with a hymn on her heart.
Absolutely.
While we are waiting on Sharia's question, Sharia, stop playing with us. All right. So now just playing. All right. Thank y'all so much once again for sitting in this space with us. For all of our family, our friends, our new friends, our old friends.
Yeah. Is that my Sharia?
Yes.
Sharia.
Thank y'all so much for just showing up in this space with us. It is definitely, Alex, do not ask her for a selection because she will give it to us. Wait, hold on, Moni got something. Conversation has me thinking about Tony K. Words about being well and responsible for your well-being and freedom. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Only one Sharia. You are absolutely right. It's only one Sharia. Shout out to Sharia, my hairstylist. She's the best. If you need her information, let me know. She does all of my updos. She's gonna kill me for saying that.
Yes, yes, Moni, that is important, right? Like to be responsible for your well-being and freedom. So many people will try to control that for you, but it is important that you remain responsible um, for your own well-being and your freedom and what that looks like. Um, Thanks, y'all, so much from the bottom of our hearts for being present in this space. Like I said, for all of our old friends, our new friends, we start shouting out people that they will get calls like, "Well, you ain't see me on there," But just know that we love y'all, and we just appreciate the support that people have given to us and how they've shown up for us and how they covered us and how they pray with us and how they challenge us. Um, and listen, we over here preparing for next year.
I'm sorry. Let me just say one thing, even about Sharia, because Sharia was very supportive of me. A lot of times I sat in Sharia's chair and I'm like, Sharia, X, Y, and Z is going on, or this is going on.
And what she would say to you?
She like, Val, you need to be free. You need to stop living for everybody else and live for yourself. She had all of the advice, but no, I really appreciate it. You know, you get to sit in your hairstylist chair and they give you solid advice.
Therapy right there.
Yeah.
Stylist chair.
So I appreciate it.
But yes.
Thank you, Jill.
Rainy said, y'all
Love
done?
you.
Yeah, Rainy. We started at 7:30, sister. But we appreciate you all. And just the amount of support that we've gotten, even from people, it shocked us how viral our engagement video went. But it was extremely, it was telling, right? It was very loud. Just how much our love was loud, and it wasn't loud.
We weren't trying to be loud,
but it was loud in a way. Some music you want to be loud, and some, you like turn that down. I'm glad that our version of love is not to be turned down. Hey,
oh my God, Patty,
pray. I'm back.
It's okay. It's okay.
I need a nurse. Whoo! All right.
Are you cooking tonight?
No.
Okay.
I'm
trying to figure out how we're gonna get fed. Listen.
No. Y'all really don't want to know the
what? She's gonna say I'm a little princess.
Val is a princess. She don't lift a finger.
I'm so happy about my soft girl era.
Lord have mercy. Thank y'all again. Love y'all. I close out every moment in space. We don't know what we have said may have freed somebody, right? Or it may have caused somebody to sit with their thoughts. And so I always like to end in prayer and to just make sure people have a great night. Now, the folks have said is this, you and Val need to go ahead and keep doing y'all podcast.
You gonna let me get on the show again?
Yeah, you can come back.
Okay.
All right. Lord God, we thank you for this opportunity to be able to share our story. We thank you that you allowed us the space to be able to sit with you before we sat with other people. We thank you that our words have landed in spaces that will not be used against us, but our words have landed and our story has landed in spaces where people will begin to share our love and share their own love stories, starting with the love of God and the love of Christ. And so we thank you that you have been present with us this evening. We thank you that you have poured back into us and that you pour back into your people. We pray that somebody who may be struggling even in their own relationship with someone else, but most of all, if they're struggling in a relationship with you or with themselves, God, that you would turn them back to you, that you would turn them inward so that they can be able to focus on how you have showed up in their lives, Lord God, and what you have for them, their purpose and their will. And no matter the pressures and things that may show up for individuals on this line and even in our own personal lives, God, we thank you that you have never left us, nor have you forsaken us. And so, God, we thank you for this journey. We thank you for this podcast episode and the many to come. We thank you that so much healing has taken place. And we thank you that you gave us a voice to be able to talk to your people, that you gave us a story, that you gave us a testimony that may help the next person through their test. We honor you and we praise you. We thank you. And it's in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank y'all. See y'all next time. We love y'all.
Rashida. Hey, sis. Sharia, stop laughing at me.
Y'all love is Aletta C and Jennifer Hudson.
Who said that?
Monia.
Bye, y'all.
Love y'all so much. We'll let y'all know the next time I have Val on.
The next time, it needs to be like we're gonna have
a guest.
Yeah. They have a little something to sip on.
Monica,
all right.
You heard her? Reverend Monica. I know you still on here. All right. Peace, y'all. See y'all later. Have a good night.